The Eternal City of Somnoria. High above the world that everyone knows, beyond the mountains where eagles dare not fly, beyond the clouds that cradle the dreams of weary travelers, beyond even the tallest aspirations of children who gaze upward with eyes full of wonder, there existed a city that floated in the endless expanse of the sky. This was no ordinary floating city suspended by strings or magic or machinery. It drifted as if it were a single prolonged thought in the vast mind of a sleeping universe. Slow, patient, unhurried, meandering through currents of celestial wind that only it could feel. The city was constructed of pale, luminous stone that seemed to breathe with the rhythm of distant tides, interwoven with delicate bridges woven from morning mist and staircases carved from solidified moonbeams that materialized only when a truly exhausted soul needed to ascend them, step by gentle step. No maps marked its location, for Somnoria, the city that sleeps in the sky, never lingered in one place for long. It wandered languidly over vast oceans where waves whispered secrets to the horizon, across sun-baked deserts where sand dunes sighed in the heat of forgotten noons, through ancient forests where trees stood sentinel over buried memories, above sprawling cities pulsing with artificial light, and past quiet, sleeping villages where chimney smoke curled upward like prayers for peace. Always moving, always drifting, yet never truly lost, guided by some invisible compass attuned to the collective weariness of humanity below. In Somnoria, night and day did not contend or compete as they did in the world below. They coexisted in perfect unspoken harmony, sharing the boundless sky with mutual respect. One hemisphere of the city bathed perpetually in the soft, golden warmth of eternal sunset, where the air carried the delicate flavors of ripe oranges, wild honey gathered from flowers that bloomed only at dusk, and the faint comforting scent of baking bread from ovens fueled by captured starlight. Here, clouds drifted lazily, painted in strokes of blush pink, burnished gold, and lavender, reflecting the serene glow of a sun that had decided to linger just a little longer. The opposite side of Somnoria rested in perpetual twilight, wrapped in a deep velvety blue that felt like the inside of a favorite blanket on a cool evening. Stars twinkled not with urgency, but with patient observation, like the eyes of ancient guardians watching over the slumbering. The moon, full and compassionate, hung low as if ready to listen to any whispered confessions carried upward on thermal currents. This eternal evening promised not darkness, but the gentle dimming of worries, the softening of sharp edges, the invitation to let eyelids grow heavy without fear of what morning might demand. The city's name was not spoken in ordinary words or letters that could be scrawled on paper or typed into screens. Somnoria was a name composed entirely of sensations and feelings. The exquisite relief of sinking into a feather bed after days of unrelenting labor. The profound peace of lying in a sun-warmed meadow with eyes half closed as wind sifts through tall grass like fingers through hair. The tender ache of being held by someone who required nothing in return. The suspended moment right before sleep claims you completely, when the world loosens its tenacious grip on your racing thoughts and allows them to drift free. Within Somnoria, clocks were unknown artifacts, relics of a frantic existence far below. Time did not need to be measured, captured, or conquered here. It flowed like a great river that had at last reached the welcoming sea, meandering, expansive, surrendering to its own natural current without urgency or destination. Residents and visitors alike marked their existence not by ticking seconds or fleeting hours, but by the deep, rhythmic inhalations and exhalations of their bodies, by the steady drum of heartbeats that echoed the pulse of the floating city itself, by those exquisite pauses when souls unfurled like night-blooming flowers under a patient moon. The city unfolded into countless districts, each meticulously crafted from the collective dreams of exhausted humanity, each serving a specific aspect of the profound rest that called wanderers skyward. The Garden of Slow Seasons occupied vast acreage where all 4 seasons communed in eternal truce. Wandering its winding paths, one might brush against trees heavy with summer's lush sun-ripened fruits, peaches so succulent they wept juice with the lightest touch, figs bursting with dark sweetness, grapes hanging in pendulous clusters kissed by perpetual warmth. Another trail led beneath canopies of golden autumn foliage, where leaves detached from branches with dreamlike slowness, spiraling downward in balletic descent that could occupy hours of peaceful observation. Further along, prairie meadows exploded in symphonies of color, flowers unfurling petals in sync with the languid heartbeat of the earth, tulips stretching toward light that filtered through perpetual dawn haze, lilacs releasing perfume heavy with promise. Beyond lay winter hills blanketed in snow that never chilled to the bone, but rather refreshed like the purest mountain spring, crunching softly underfoot while crystalline flakes continued their leisurely fall from skies that understood the art of patience. Adjacent sprawled the Hall of Forgotten Lullabies, a cathedral-like expanse where melodies long lost to waking memory suspended in the air like threads of liquid silver, shimmering with faint luminescence. These were the songs mothers had hummed to fretful infants through countless nights, the improvised tunes wanderers sang to themselves under indifferent stars, the half-remembered cradle songs from childhood that surfaced only in moments of deepest vulnerability. Walking its echoing corridors with eyes gently closed allowed fragments to brush against the ears, snatches of melody that stirred inexplicable familiarity, as if some buried part of the psyche recognized its own voice singing back from eons past. One might hear a lilting Scandinavian folk tune carried on northern winds, its syllables promising protection from midwinter gales, or a Middle Eastern lament transformed into comfort, oud strings vibrating with maternal reassurance, or simple wordless hums from every culture, unified in their singular purpose to guide the restless toward slumber's embrace. The hall's acoustics amplified not volume, but emotional resonance, each note landing softly on the heart like snowflakes on outstretched palms. Here, music did not demand attention, it offered companionship, wrapping around the listener like the gentlest of shawls woven from sound itself. Deeper still lay the library of unfinished days, a colossal circular edifice whose infinite shelves cradled not leather-bound volumes, but delicate glass vials containing pure moments suspended in time. Each vessel preserved the final unspoken word hovering on a lover's lips during farewell, the unread final page of a journal abandoned mid-sentence, the incomplete step of journeys interrupted by life's relentless demands. In Somnoria, nothing remained truly lost. These fragments simply rested, shimmering patiently until the souls who had left them returned, ready to complete what waking haste had forsaken. At Somnoria's tranquil core, where every winding path converged like rivers seeking ocean, rose the Courtyard of Deep Breathing, dominated by a great tree of mythic proportion, larger than any that had ever rooted in earthly soil. Its trunk spanned widths that defied measurement, smooth bark glowing with the dusky warmth of spent sunsets, roots curling languidly through the very air as if the sky provided richer nourishment than any terrestrial earth. Branches stretched towards infinity, adorned with lanterns forged from captured dawns, imprisoned twilights, and preserved lunar crescents, each globe emanating a unique shade of serenity: pale lavenders of first sleep, ambers of contented half-dreaming, indigos of profound release. Beneath this arboreal colossus, upon a stone bench curved like the most forgiving smile, sat Elias, the eternal welcomer. His presence anchored the courtyard like gravity anchors planets. White hair flowed not with age's frailty, but morning fog's ethereal softness. Skin etched with lines resembling rivers patiently carving canyons through millennia. Eyes holding the accumulated wisdom of countless dream entrances and gentle departures. When Elias breathed, and his respiration synchronized perfectly with the city's own pulse, the lantern swayed in delicate response, as if exhale and zephyr were lifelong confidants, exchanging secrets through the still night air. Elias had dwelled in Somnoria since time forgot to count. Some whispered he was the city's first dreamer, the original soul who had whispered "enough" so profoundly that the sky itself had woven this sanctuary around his sigh. Others believed he was every weary traveler who had ever found peace here, their essences merged into one eternal guardian. Whatever his origin, Elias's purpose remained singular and sacred: to welcome the tired, to guide the exhausted, to remind the frantic that rest was not a prize to be earned, but a birthright freely given. Everyone who found their way to Somnoria arrived not by maps or compasses, but by softening. The city did not seek visitors, it waited patiently, extending staircases of moonbeams only when hearts below whispered their secret password: please. This single word, spoken or thought in moments of utter depletion, became the golden key that unlocked the veil between worlds. The veil did not tear violently. It parted like silk curtains before a gentle breeze, allowing the weary to slip through unnoticed by the waking world. On a night when the moon hung thin as a fingernail paring and clouds stretched translucent across the starfield, a new visitor materialized in the courtyard. Her name was Mara. Though names held little weight in Somnoria, they were but temporary garments for eternal souls. Mara came from a world of relentless illumination, where screens glowed eternally and notifications chimed like insistent specters. Her city below pulsed with artificial urgency, phones vibrating through mattresses, emails arriving at 3 a.m., deadlines chasing one another in endless relay. People there slept with one eye open, bodies horizontal but minds sprinting marathons through digital landscapes. Mara had mastered every technique the waking world offered for sleep: apps that measured REM cycles with clinical precision, herbal teas promising chemical surrender, white noise machines simulating ocean waves that sounded more mechanical than marine. Yet the exhaustion woven into her marrow remained untouched, a deep ache behind her eyes that no algorithm could chart. That night, lying amid tangled sheets with heart pounding against ribs like a trapped bird, she whispered without intention, "Please." The transformation was subtle at first. Her room brightened and dimmed simultaneously, as if reality diluted itself to make room for something purer. The ceiling thinned from solid plaster to gossamer mist, edges blurring like watercolor on damp paper. Mara felt herself both sinking into her mattress and rising weightlessly, a leaf caught in dual currents of gravity and grace. The boundaries between body and bed, room and sky, waking and dreaming, all softened into permeability. When her eyes fluttered open, she stood beneath a twilight canopy where lanterns swayed from invisible threads. The ground beneath her feet felt like packed cloud kissed by frost, solid yet yielding, cool yet comforting. Before her loomed the great tree, its branches a cathedral vaulted toward infinity. Elias sat precisely where he always did, his gaze meeting hers with recognition that spanned lifetimes. "Welcome," he said, voice textured like chamomile steeped too long, warm honey poured over slow afternoons. The single word landed not as greeting, but permission, a key turning in locks Mara hadn't realized were binding her. "Am I dreaming?" she asked, though the question felt academic, distant as yesterday's weather. "In the richest sense," Elias replied, "you dwell now in a dream belonging not solely to you, but to every soul who ever needed rest beyond fleshly limits. Here, dreams are more real than what you left behind." Tears welled unbidden. Mara hadn't known exhaustion pooled so visibly, pressing against eyelids like unshed rain. Here it flowed freely, cleansing rather than staining. "I'm so tired," she confessed, voice cracking on the admission she'd never voiced aloud. Elias nodded as if hearing an ancient truth. "All who arrive speak some version of this. Sit." He gestured to the curved bench beneath the tree. "Somnoria exists for the tired, by the tired, of the tired." Mara sank onto stone that molded like memory foam sculpted by divine hands. Instantly, she noticed her breath, truly noticed it for the first time. Inhale filled her like warm light pouring through cracked shutters. exhale emptied her like autumn leaves drifting from overburdened branches. The rhythm felt less voluntary action, more cosmic gift bestowed upon her breathing. "This is Somnoria," Elias continued, as lanterns pulsed overhead, "where the world below forgets that rest constitutes no luxury but birthright. Here, the mind wanders untasked, the body remembers its weight as blessing rather than burden." Mara's shoulders descended inches she hadn't known were armored. Tension coiled lifelong in her spine, uncoiled like spring flowers yielding to dawn. "Will I forget this?" she whispered, dreading the inevitable waking. "You'll remember imperfectly, but feeling endures. Tomorrow your chest expands easier during breath. Patchwork sky between buildings softens your gaze. Rest etches itself indelibly in muscle memory." Elias rose with slowness, demonstrating no urgency ever missed anything important. "Walk with me." They passed beneath an archway shimmering like heat haze over sun-warmed stone. Beyond, air tasted of rain-kissed flagstone and line-dried cotton warmed by afternoon sun. "This is the way of silenced chatter," Elias explained. The street unfolded, lined with cottages, each door ajar invitingly, windows glowing with inner luminescence. Behind gossamer curtains moved tranquil silhouettes, figures seated motionless, faces serene as pond surfaces undisturbed. Above each cottage floated luminous phrases in endless cycle. "Not enough," "too late," "what if," "should have," "must hurry," "falling behind." These words once thundered through their minds, Elias said softly. Here, they tire themselves through repetition until realizing nobody need hear them shouted. They grew loud from unkind listening. Here they find welcome, and in welcome, quiet. Mara paused beneath "you're falling behind," the phrase trembling as if recognizing its former bearer. Weight settled in her chest, not pain, but acknowledgement long postponed. "Would you release it?" Elias asked. She nodded. He reached upward effortlessly, capturing the glow in palm. It diminished to spark. "This fear sought protection once," he said. "Thank its intention, then let it rest." "Thank you," Mara breathed to her lifelong driver. Exhale carried sparks skyward, extinguished midair. The cottage phrase faded permanently. Street grew quieter still. They continued to vast plaza, carpeted in cushions myriad colors and sizes, pale blue like first snowfall, dusky rose like faded petals, creamy ivory like moonstruck sand. Figures reclined upon them, curled fetal or sprawled starfish, enveloped in pulsing auras matching respiration. Field of Accepted Weariness, Elias named it. Nobody apologizes for tiredness here. Mara watched Sleeper roll over, face smoothing further into peace. Nearby figure hovered twilight between sleep and waking, pure drifting, fingers twitching dream brushes against unseen textures. Below, Elias continued, exhaustion wears like invisible armor named responsibility, ambition, adulthood. Here we call it truth, You've carried excess too long. Empty cushion beckoned, pale blue and impossibly plush. Lie down, Elias invited. Vulnerability flickered. Mara, unused to rest, witnessed. Then she remembered countless ceiling stairs craving precisely this: permission, sanctuary, release from performance. She reclined, cushion reshaped, contouring every curve, recalling every soft bed, childhood grass patch, maternal lap. Body sank as if earth finally remembered cradling its children. Small lights detached from sleepers' chests, ascending like luminous dandelion seeds. Mara watched glow brighten behind her own ribs. "What rises?" she murmured. "Burdens released from solitary carriage," Elias answered. "Expectations, self-recriminations, inherited stories of insufficiency." Her glow intensified, then detached smoothly. Lightness flooded. Mara felt hollowed cleanly, space filled by air tasting clearer, sweeter. "What was mine?" Elias inquired gently. Guilt, she realized. Guilt for insufficiency, always measuring short. Miss it? Mara expected nakedness sans shield, instead felt authentic, unburdened. No. Good, Elias affirmed simply. They lingered, minutes or days indistinguishable. Time circled lazily here, spirals rather than arrows. Eventually, Elias touched shoulder lightly. More awaits. Rising felt less standing, more levitation by compassionate atmosphere. They progressed toward crystalline tower, iridescent blues and silvers, surface reflecting not faces, but unlived lives, shimmering possibility. Tower of Alternate Rest, Elias named it. Witness lives possible had rest arrived sooner. Mara swallowed. Tower light beckoned without accusation. They entered cool interior, tasting faintly mint and vellum. Hollow, spiraling chamber walls resembled still water more than glass. "Touch," Elias directed. Fingertips met yielding surface. Images coalesced slowly. Mara at sunlit table, books and tea steaming gently. Shoulders relaxed, face unhurried. Voice called. She turned, smiling genuinely. No performance strain. "Her?" Mara breathed. "You, resting earlier," Elias clarified. "Enough declared sooner." Images shifted. Forest walker sans phone, notifications replaced by bird song, rustling leaves, solitary but content. "Too late?" Voice small. Elias' smile illuminated entire tower. "You embody her already. These remind possibility persists. Even now, you shape tomorrow's rested self." "When first learned fearing rest?" Elias inquired. Memory flickered. Childhood praise for productivity, adult admiration for late hours, busyness equated worth. Tiredness became weakness synonym. Learned exhaustion proved value, Mara realized slowly. Stopping meant collapse, lagging. Common teaching, Elias nodded. Rest opposes not life's fullness, but nourishes it. Without soil, even joy withers. Images faded, leaving possibility glow. "One more place," Elias said. They exited toward city edge, dissolving gradually. No walls, just increasing translucence blending into sky. Balcony emerged, moonlight solidified, overlooking world below. Streets, buildings, tiny figures pacing anxious circuits. Balcony of returning, Elias identified. Witness life awaiting. Mara beheld her room, rumpled bedding, half water glass, nightstand phone. Same yet altered, not cage, but potential nest. "Not ready," she whispered. "Always thus, yet you depart enriched." From robe folds emerged palm-sized stone, smooth blue-gray. Mara accepted, rhythmic pulse resonated. "City fragment," Elias explained. Held, breath recalls learned pace. Racing thoughts encounter gentle weight, reminding passage like clouds. No problem solver, simply rest remembrance when forgetting. Cool, pleasant against skin. Return possible? Elias chuckled, creak negotiating pebbles. Rest truly summons me. Bedsheet fingertips over phone grasp. Silence acceptance. I dwell wherever genuine pause occurs. Sky brightened, morning edges touching Somnoria. Time nears, Elias noted. Remember you? Recall different living possible, sufficient. Hand covered hers, stone holding. Breathe. In, out, in, out. City blurred, tree pattern eyelid darkness. Lanterns became morning fading stars. Cushions mattress firm, Elias kindness memory. Final words lingered. Rest constitutes no reward, home. Eyes opened to familiar room, hushed possibility rather than threat. Air altered, or she. Hand lifted, smooth object rolled palm. Sat slowly, blue-gray stone gleamed. Long gaze yielded private smile lip curve, something beginning. Mara reclined, clutching stone loosely, other hand chest placed. Breathed. In, out, in, out. City blurred, tree patterned eyelid darkness. Lanterns became morning fading stars. Cushions mattress firm, Elias kindness memory. Final words lingered. Rest constitutes no reward, home. Eyes opened to familiar room, hushed possibility rather than threat. Air altered, or she. Hand lifted, smooth object rolled palm. Sat slowly, blue-gray stone gleamed. Long gaze yielded private smile lip curve, something beginning. Mara reclined, clutching stone loosely, other hand chest placed. Breathed. In, out, in, out. City blurred, tree patterned eyelid darkness. Lanterns became morning fading stars. Cushions mattress firm, Elias kindness memory. Final words lingered. Rest constitutes no reward, home. Days passed, title, work, messages, screens humming, familiar discord. Yet Mara transformed subtly. Tiredness shed armor status. Lunch benches beneath trees became sky patches watching. Afternoon temple presses yielded closed-eye minutes. No emerged gentle where, yes of course, swallowed cost previously. Nights intrusive thoughts knocked, insufficient, better possible, harder try. Stone-held breathing dispersed them. Commands softened, suggestions kindly declined. Another hushed night, heart heavy not hopeless, unintended whisper, please. Ceiling dimmed, brightened. Reality edges loosened, gravity unhooked gently. Eyes opened, Somnoria slightly altered. Twilight hemisphere, dawn hinted, sunset stars scattered. City evolved, breathing visitor needs. Elias waited, lantern increased. Welcome return. Mara soft laughed, surprising. Return possible? Unsure. All return, Elias affirmed. Dreams or waking stillness, you chose dream again. Fine. More learn? Carry rest fuller? Nod. Tonight, river of unfinished worries. Path hummed, footsteps stones, air cooled, thunder distant water scent. River heard, not raging, insistent monologue undertone. Banks reached, wide, slow surface, pale shapes, paper petals. Closer, tiny scenes looping, potential arguments, unpleasant meetings, unborn disasters. Worries confirmed? Yes. What if mind rehearsals rarely manifesting? Here they flow. Watched, dark heavy, barely afloat, faint near transparent, none reached horizon. Destination? Dissolution. Worry weather, rains, dries, fades variably. Elias proffered golden stone bank smooth. Throw gently. Purpose? Reveals. Tossed, no splash, sank glowing, images surfaced encircling. Mara awake replays, future arguments catastrophized. Actual weeks later, uncomfortable, non-apocalyptic. Stone variations, gentle handling, snapping, uniform, ended, breathing persisted. Worry rehearses pain, Elias soft. Actual often smaller than stage constructed. River remembers distinction. Images faded, stone vanished. Worry inevitable as breathing, Elias continued. Don't stop, channel it shallowly. Worry arrives. Ah, river, watch, withhold, dive. Mara River stared. Nights drowned, imaginary futures recalled. Dive avoidance? Stone gestured, hers carried waking. Beyond passing thoughts, sky holding weather, not storm. Riverside walked, silence filled companionably. Worry floats mirrored own, loss fear, failure fear, visibility fears dual. Pull felt, softened attention return, breathing, footfalls, presence. Somnoria gravity lessened thoughts. River left toward city heart, velvety blue deepened, stars harbor ships slow moving. Before departure, Elias said, one final place tonight. Square empty, no structures, trees, fountains, vast openness. Plain of pure being, Elias identified. Nothing requested, no think, understand, heal, improve, exist permitted. Mara scanned. Do what? Breathe, feel, notice. Stepped back, space gifting, wallless room. Mara stood awkward, early arrival programless. Slowly, eyes closed. Inward, not chatter thoughts beneath. Airflow, heart thump, alive hum. Mind-filled analysis. Right? Working? Duration? Questions edged lost. less important than hand warmth, jaw looseness, foot weight. Time passed kindly, if passing. Eyes opened, Elias edge satisfied. Begun learning. Accomplished? Existed. Mara slept, pausing life, not escaping. Sleep continuation gentle. Somnoria onward. The third night found riverbank proper, not mere passage. Figures sat banks, watching personal worries float. Some reached whispering retrieval, others waved final farewell. An elderly man tossed pebbles, creating images dissolving faster. A young woman sketched floating scenes, paper transforming ink watercolor drifts. Regulars, Elias explained, returnees cultivating river trust. Worry-watching skill develops like muscle. Mara sat splashless bank, tossed tiny stone. Own images surfaced, work deadline disasters, friendship fractures, health hypochondrias, each actualized smaller, survivable. Practice, she murmured. Elias nodded. Worry rehearses pain, Elias soft. Actual often smaller than stage constructed. River remembers distinction. Images faded, stone vanished. Garden revisited, transformed. Summer fruits tasted memory riper, juice evoking childhood stands forgotten. Autumn leaves caught mid-fall, conversations held palm-cupped. Winter snow sculpted self-portraits, melting gradually, no hurry. Spring flowers bloomed, audience appreciative, petals choreographed, sleepy heartbeat. Each season taught pacing, summer abundance without gluttony, autumn release without regret, winter pause without despair, spring promise without pressure. Mara lingered lilac bower, inhaling promise perfume. How seasons teach without teacher. Patterns inherent, Elias replied. Nature rests rhythmically. Humans alone fight cycles. Library delved properly. Vials hummed recognition nearness. Mara fingertip brushed one. Lover farewell, unsaid wait. Held, scene unfolded, embrace prolonged, words exchanged, pain transmuted understanding. Vial warmed, scene completed, shelf space emptied gracefully. Your unfinishes? Elias asked. Scanning, argument unapologized, book abandoned, page 397, trip canceled, whim. Each vial pulsed, waiting. Complete now? Whenever ready. Forcing creates new unfinishes. Patience completes purest. Mara selected journal vial. Final entry flowed, pen fingertip natural. Closure gentle. Hall walked, eyes closed fully. Melodies layered personal symphony. Mother's hum fragmented recalled, childhood mobile tinkles, adolescent radio soft focus. One melody coalesced complete, grandmother's voice lost decade ago. Sleep, little one, world waits kindly. Tears not sad, gratitude. Music remembers when memory fails, Elias noted. Mara swayed, rhythm discovered. Compose own? Cottages await, Elias gestured. Silenced chatter houses, now melody infused. Worries sung lullabies into silence. Lake discovered, mirror surface reflecting not faces, but held grudges, resentments, disappointments. Stones skipped, created ripples, dissolving reflections gradually. Elderly woman laughter ripples obliterated decades' anger. Child manipulated boats ferried forgiveness messages across. Mara stone picked, skip, childhood betrayal, ripples, adult perspective, compassion born, reflection faded. Grudges weigh heaviest asleep, Elias observed. Lake lightens. Towering peak, stair-stepped clouds, ascent breathing deepened naturally. Summit, world below miniaturized, problems anthill scale. Peak perspective, Elias named. Distance reveals proportion. Mara beheld life panorama, deadlines dots, arguments specks, achievements glimmers, vastness contextualized trivialities. Carry summit view? Peak remembrance stone, Elias offered, clear quartz fragment, held, restores proportion. Trees bore childhood delights fruit, swing, swing berries, hide and seek nuts, puddle jumping plums. Eating restored delight muscles atrophied. Path led swing glade, seats cloud stuffed swaying breeze invited. Mara swung laughing forgotten freely. Joy rests rediscovery, Elias smiled swing nearby. Endless sands no footprints, mirage-free clarity reigned. Thoughts settled like dunes wind-shaped, no rush. Distraction desert, Elias explained. Mind learns settle naturally. Mara sat dune, thoughts sand grains sorting self. Clarity emerged unforced. Boundless sea, gentle waves, acceptance whispering. Floating effortless, salt tears indistinguishable. Surrender ocean, Elias floated nearby. Fight creates drown, float finds shore. Mara bobbed, resistance dissolving wave rhythm. Voice truths echoed, amplification compassionate. I am enough, reverberated canyon deep. Lies crumbled, echo exposure. Truths solidified. Mara whispered vulnerabilities. Echoes affirmed gently. Grass blades each moment memories. First breath, first smile, kindness received instance. Lying absorbed lifetime's peace. Life micro, not macro, Elias taught. Darkness womb comforting, no light forced, silence profoundest music. Inner cave, Elias's voice, cave resonant, no escape needed, enter willingly. Mara sat darkness embraced, silence symphony discovered. Mist bridge spanning sleep-wake, crossing practiced gentle. Elias explained, transitions practiced ease departure. Telescopes stars resting, vastnesses, galaxies patient unfolding. Universe rests eternally, Elias showed. Human hurry aberration. All districts revisited montage. Mara embodied Somnoria essence. Ready carry city within? Elias asked. Stone collection pocket weighted. Blue-gray breath. Gold worry. Clear perspective. Quartz joys. Balcony final. World below home inviting. Rest at home, Elias reminded. Return anytime softening occurs. Embrace exchanged essence transferring. City dissolved lantern brightening. Now, beloved listener, as the eternal journey through Somnoria draws to its most profound and complete close, receive the full embrace of the city that sleeps in the sky. This is not merely an ending, but the eternal beginning of rest woven into the very fabric of your being. Allow these final words to become the deepest architecture of your sleep, the foundation upon which all waking moments will rest more gently. Settle now into whatever cradles you: bed, couch, earth, hammock. Feel the complete and total support beneath every point of contact. Your body is not merely held, it is remembered, cherished, perfectly weighted for this moment of complete surrender. Gravity, that faithful companion through all your days of striving, now transforms into the most tender cradle, pulling you downward not as force, but as loving invitation to release completely. Begin with the breath that has carried you through every adventure of Somnoria. Inhale slowly, deeply, as if drawing in the entire city itself, the twilight air of the Courtyard of Deep Breathing, the honeyed warmth of eternal sunset, the cool mist of the Way of silenced chatter, the fresh spring winds of the Garden of Slow Seasons. Feel your belly rise softly, your ribs expand like the unfolding petals of those patient spring flowers, your chest opening to receive the vastness of peace that has no boundaries. Now, exhale. Let it be the longest, slowest breath of your life. Release not just air, but every fragment encountered on this journey. The glowing phrases that once shouted above the cottages now faded to whispers. The heavy burdens that rose like lanterns from the Field of Accepted Weariness. The what-if scenes that dissolved in the river of unfinished worries. The unfinished moments from glass vials, now completed in gentle memory. Exhale the guilt, the hurry, the proving, the falling behind. Let it all drift upward, joining the countless lanterns now swaying in the great tree's branches. Breathe again. In, the infinite patience of Elias sitting eternally on his curved stone bench. Out, the weight of 1,000 lifetimes of rushing. In, the cool refreshment of winter snow that never chills. Out, the armor of exhaustion you once wore as proof of worth. In, the simple existence of the plane of pure being. Out, every apology you ever made for being tired. Feel your eyes now. They grow impossibly heavy, like lanterns being lowered one by one from the great tree. The upper lids descend slowly, brushing the lower lids like old friends reuniting. No force, no strain, simply permission. The world beyond your eyelids fades not into darkness, but into the deep velvet blue of Somnoria's twilight hemisphere. Behind closed eyes, see the stars, not sharp and distant, but soft, patient, close as breath. Your jaw, held tight through countless days of unvoiced tension, now unclenches completely. Feel the muscles soften, the teeth part slightly, the tongue rest heavy and still against the floor of your mouth. Let a faint sigh escape, carrying any final fragments of holding. Your shoulders, those faithful carriers of the world's expectations, now slide downward, melting into the surface beneath you. Feel each muscle fiber release, each tendon loosen, each bone settle into perfect alignment. The weight you carried so long becomes the earth's gentle embrace. Your arms rest heavy as ancient oak branches after autumn's leaf fall. Hands unclench completely, fingers splaying naturally, palms open to receive whatever the night offers. Nothingness, dreams, peace. Forearms heavy, elbows soft, upper arms sinking deeper. Your chest rises and falls in perfect tidal rhythm, each breath now synchronized with the pulse of Somnoria itself. The slow breathing of the great tree, the rising and falling mist bridges, the eternal drift of the city through sky currents. Your belly softens completely, rising and falling like a sleeping child. No holding in, no tension, no control, simply being breathed. Your hips, pelvis, lower back, all release into profound grounding. Legs become leaden pillars of relaxation, thighs heavy, knees soft, calves melting, ankles loose, feet completely surrendered, toes curling and uncurling once, then still. Now that your body has become the perfect vessel of rest, let the mind follow. Thoughts will come, as they always do. Welcome them not as intruders, but as weather passing through your vast inner sky. The worry about tomorrow, a small cloud on the horizon. Watch it form, watch it drift, watch it dissolve. The planning for next week, a brief shower. Feel its passing coolness, then the return of clear sky. The old regret, a distant thunder you once feared, now merely a memory fading into silence. You are not your thoughts. You are the sky that holds all weather. Vast, eternal, unmoved, patient. Remember now every sacred place visited in Somnoria, each becoming a room within your inner architecture of rest. The garden of slow seasons lives now in your patience. No rushing bloom, no regretting fallen leaf, no despairing winter, no grasping summer fruit. When haste calls, hear the slow unfurling of spring petals. The river of unfinished worries flows through your acceptance. Every what if now drifts downstream, dissolving in time's patient current. When fear rehearses pain, remember, actual arrives smaller, survivable, temporary. The field of accepted weariness spreads across your right to tiredness. No apology needed, no armor required. When exhaustion visits, welcome it as old friend, signaling time for cushions and soft glow. The plane of pure being opens wide in your center. Doing nothing is now holy work. When pressure to achieve whispers, stand simply in existence, breathing as worship. The lake of let go ripples in your forgiveness. Grudges dissolve like reflections on water. When resentment surfaces, skip a stone of compassion. Watch it fade. The mountain of perspective rises in your clarity. From summit height, all problems shrink to proper scale. When overwhelmed, hold your clear quartz fragment. See life's true proportions. The forest of forgotten joys bears fruit in your delight. Simple pleasures ripened through time. When joy feels distant, taste childhood's swingberries. Swing freely once more. The desert of distraction-free offers clarity in your focus. Thoughts settle naturally as dunes. When scattered, sit sand still. Let mind organize itself. The ocean of acceptance buoys your surrender, floating effortless through all waves. When resisting, bob gently. Trust the current knows shore. The canyon of echoed truth amplifies your affirmations. Every I am enough reverberates eternal. When doubt speaks, whisper truth. Let canyon return it 1,000-fold. Elias sits now in the exact center of your heart, on his curved bench beneath your inner great tree. He watches over every lantern lit by your releases, every visitor you welcome to your own courtyard of rest. When loneliness calls, remember, he waits, unchanged, smiling the smile that spans eternities. Somewhere above, in the real sky or the sky of dreams, Somnoria drifts still. It passes over your sleeping city, your neighborhood, your window. Lanterns sway, mist bridges breathe. The great tree inhales and exhales in perfect time with you. A new